Hello, everybody. I have some downtime. Get caught up on some personal stuff I want to do, including making some cars for Gaslands. So, I've decided I'm going to do exactly that. Got a full weekend planned with the holiday and everything coming up. About Friday night, done with work. Everybody's taken care of. The time is mine. I'm going to paint. Got a few baggies full of cars that are prepped here. I'm not sure where I want to start. And I just figured I would bring folks along if they were interested. As Mythical Family, we're making this space to share our gaming and costuming and role-playing and tabletop game hobbies and pastimes in a safe and inclusive space. I am not a very good painter. I need to be paying lots of attention to our buddy Zappa, who is actually doing painting tutorial videos for us on our channel. However, I am just gonna go do some painting. Don't know what colors I want to do with this one. I think I liked the idea of that being there. That's why it's in the bag. Yeah. Wheels will be easy to paint. Maybe that's where we'll start while I wait for something to move me to pick colors. But for the time being, this is just a casual paint and chat. I will do my best to keep an eye on chat. I'm running solo here at the studio, so with my ADHD, I can't promise to not get absorbed in what I'm doing and forget that there's anything else happening around me. But I will promise to pay the best attention I can, and if somebody wants to chat with me or give input on what's going on, or let's start with just, or interact whatsoever, give suggestions, give feedback, rant about their day, I will pay the best attention I can and interact with you while I'm doing my own thing. It is cold here, however, it's a little warm for this hoodie at the moment. Let's see. This is a sporty car with some very cool slopes and angles. I like it quite a bit, which makes me tempted to break out my orange, since that's my favorite color. I don't think I'm going to do that. Dig through what I have here. Yeah. I've got a couple of really bright oranges. Oh, I forgot I've got a metallic bronze. That could be obnoxious. I don't know what I would do with bronze, though. I could do black and bronze, but you know, the lines of this car just, they're calling for something more bold. This is not a hard to find car, so I'm not going to worry about making terrible decisions with it. It's just right off the rack, and I think it's a current build. So I think what I'm going to have handy, I think we're going to do this deep blue, just as an accent color. However, I think this terrible combination is going to be our winner. I think with the way this thing sits, yeah, I think what I like is... Yeah, I think we're going to go mostly yellow with the primary body. And then we'll use this teal for the fenders and whatnot. We'll see how that goes. All right, we're missing one important thing. Hold on one moment. All right, we're settled in for the long haul now. My son had his final football game of the year last night. It was much colder than we were expecting. So between lots of yelling and cold weather, I've got a pretty rough throat today, so hopefully this camera has a really good mic. Hopefully it's picking me up nicely. Eric, how's it going? Yeah, I promise I'm not trying to horn in on your thing here. You're going to see some tragically amateur painting here. But I just figured since I was going to do this, that I would simply share and let people know that there are other bad painters out there too, and that everybody has to start from somewhere. No, unfortunately, they did make it to the playoffs, which his team should be very proud of, and I hope they are. However, last night, understandably, they were disappointed to lose the first round of playoffs, so they are done for the season. However, they played really hard, and they played against a team that they knew was going to be a difficult game. They lost by 10, I think. Yes, it was 14-24. So, they didn't get blown out. They didn't let that other team run away with the game. They made them work for it, which I hope all those young guys recognize. However, last night after the game, they were all understandably disappointed, and I get that. It's unfortunate, but I get that. And, yeah, these are tragically cheap paints too, buddy. Don't harangue me. But I just bought cheap paints because I'm painting Hot Wheels, not anything that takes a lot of detail like minis. So yeah, they are done. However, with all of the yelling And the cold weather and the fact that I had to be on the phone a lot today, I'm feeling terribly raspy. And I might even be mumbling a little bit. So hopefully the mic is picking me up okay. Let's see. We're going to do this, and I think get this sloppy brush because I don't have anything to move water with. These are hobby store acrylic paints for wicker baskets and the like. So these are terrible paints. They do okay if you don't let them get too gummy. They start pretty gummy, so they definitely need to be thinned out. I don't know how well the camera is catching that, but this still looks like clumpy cheese sauce. And this color is a lot more Velveeta than I wanted. I may actually fiddle with changing this color, which is another thing I don't know how to do. And don't you even start on the color wheel, Eric? I know where you live. But I may change this color a little bit. Wow, boy, this thing is just sucking up the water. Okay, so let's thin these out a little more. I don't want to do it too much because this is already way more paint than I need, despite the fact that these paints are super cheap, but so am I. So I don't want to have to add more paint. More of my crappy cheap paint. Yeah, look at how thick and gross that is still. Okay. There we go. Need to at least get it where it can flow. Cheap brushes, cheap paint, all the things to give Zappa there a nightmare, I think. But yeah, this is one of the first nights in a long time where don't have anything pressing to get done. I can excuse myself for doing some of the things I want to do and have been wanting to do. Looks okay, let's try it. So I decided I wanted to get caught up on a little bit of painting. And to reiterate what I just said, since we're making this space for people to share their hobbies and be nerdy, I just figured since I'm at the studio and doing this, I may as well turn the camera on. All right. Ooh, this is super thick and soupy. All right. I guess I need to be a little less worried about the color. The primer I needed to use on these guys is this pretty dark gray, so it's going to bring a little bit of the color back. It's going to dial it back some. It would have been fun to have it be like emergency yellow, but I don't have anything quite that bright. I just didn't want it looking like Velveeta. So it's definitely going to take a couple of coats to get this yellow nice, but that's okay. We'll do the back valance yellow. Yeah, we'll just keep it yellow all the way around. We'll do something with the tail lights and whatnot if we get into that kind of detail. But I don't see any reason to make the bumper a different color or anything like that. We might do something with the spoiler before we're done, but for now we're going to paint it yellow. And all of this is only because I'm going into this without a plan. I'm just having fun painting and sharing it in case anybody wants to come along. There we go. Get some of that thick stuff that I goofed with to start with. Leave the grill because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it just yet, but don't think I want it yellow. So we'll just leave it mostly that gray and then we'll make a plan later. Brush a little more of this here. And this is why Zappa needs to do a video on quality paints and how to pick them. Because my 75-cent hobby store paints leaving quite a bit to be desired. But that's okay. This is Gaslands. The cars are supposed to be wasteland, and I accepted long ago the trade-offs for me being cheap. So I think we're going to let that guy sit for a moment. We'll switch to the blue. We should have plenty of room here. Let's put less of it on there this time, though. I don't think I want these parts blue. I'm going to leave them gray for now. They stick up out of the hood. It's an aggressive style hood for the little sports car here. They're not scoops or anything. They look like they still could be, they could pass as intake. But I think it's really just an aggressive hood. I think I may use one of my metallic colors on those before we're done. But let's wait and see. But I think for now, what I'm really just going to get are these fenders. I think I may do the dash as well, just because I think it would be a little obnoxious if the dash were this awful, what is this? It's simply called Hawaii. So, probably want a smaller brush for those little fenders. Let me clean that so it doesn't get too funky for later, even though it's going to go back in the yellow. Find something smaller. I think I still want a flat brush. Save my nice pointy brushes for my attempts at painting models. Let's get this re-moisturized here. Oh. I've got my arms on the table. I just realized I might be shaking the camera. If that's the case, sorry folks. All right. I think if we made these colors bold, they would actually work together in a gross kind of cool way. But I'm not sure what they're going to look like muted, so it's going to be a little bit of an experiment. You go all the way down the sides. It's the whole front valance. I will say one of the reassuring things about painting Gaslands vehicles is really no matter how ugly they get, it's kinda okay. They're Mad Max cars from the wasteland, so The only person that'll know and be disappointed potentially is you. You can just let people think they're ugly on purpose, which is what I'm sure I'm going to end up doing here. But let's see what we've got. We're trying to make Gaslands regular content for the channel, so we definitely need to get a few more cars that are table ready. We only have a few cars that we've fiddled with, and I'm completely off camera with this, aren't I? Are more or less painted and decorated and have drivers and passengers. So we need to add to the stable, as it were. I can be sloppy here, the other body covers it. Add to the stable so that when we do stream, we have other vehicles, more than just a couple of vehicles, for viewers to see. So it's not the same cars every week. So this has been something I've been wanting to do for quite a while. I keep setting them aside, keep prepping them, keep buying more every time I go to the store, which is one of the slippery slopes of Gaslands. You end up with a lot of Hot Wheels again. However, I am going to say this. For a tabletop game, tabletop battle game, Gaslands is exceptionally easy to approach and get into. It has one of the hands down best crowds of people from the other tabletop games I've been part of, and is remarkably affordable. There are other games, and I'm just going to name the big dog. Games like Warhammer. Warhammer is an amazing game. I have lots of money that I have spent on that myself. The community is much more uptight about the way things look and making sure that things are to specs and that things are official models, that things are painted correctly, that things are painted at all, and the models are notoriously expensive. I can't speak to everybody's armies, but when I play Warhammer, I field an army that has lots of infantry because they're not big tough guys. They're basically just normal humans, so you get a lot of them. And the models can cost $6 or $7 each in a squad. You know, you pay $25, you get 5, maybe 10 models. And they use a lot of armor. They use tanks and rocket trucks and artillery vehicles and whatnot. And those can come in. You don't have to use them in squadrons, but that's sort of the point of them. So they cost anywhere between $50 to $75 each, and if you field a squadron of them, that's up to 3 of them. So one tank squadron is approaching $200 as far as cost of getting into the game, and it gets expensive quickly. Gaslands uses $1 Hot Wheels and Matchbox, and you can get the Johnny Lightning and Jada and Tamaya cars and all those other ones too. I have some of them that have models that I really like. They are a little more expensive, but sometimes that is fun. Make the seats blue. But it is, as far as these games go, even compared to games like X-Wing, which plays similar to this as far as the tabletop experience goes. Yeah, that's hideous. That was a good choice. These are ugly seats. but those all have official models and terrain and everything as well. So it can get quite pricey. Not as pricey as Warhammer, I don't think. Warhammer is sort of known for being a premium buy-in. But this game is really, really affordable. You get the book, you get the templates, and actually the book has the templates in it, so you can actually just photocopy the templates out of the book. The book gives you permission to do so. There are special dice for the game, but you don't need them. You can use regular six-sided dice, just like out of a Yahtzee game. How much of this is going to get seen? Let's take a look and see how ugly this is. Oh, that's going to be terrible. Oh, this is a good choice. It's going to be awful. The seats pop out. I'm going to have to paint that. I don't think I want that blue, though. We'll have to see what we want to do with that. Oh, we're going to share some yellow. That shouldn't matter. It shouldn't be seen where that is, but let's clean that up. Yay for acrylic paints. So Gaslands is much easier to get into. It has a really good crowd of people that play it because it is not a game that it gets taken super seriously. And what I mean by that is people being upset that your model has a rifle instead of a pistol, or that your tanks are painted blue, and if they're an assault type tank squadron, they should have red stripes. There's none of that really in this game. I'm sure there are people out there, but I've not met them. This game is at its core designed to be fun and lighthearted and goofy, and we're going to switch back. So it brings a really normally lighthearted and friendly crowd of people to it, which I have enjoyed quite a bit. I've enjoyed a lot. I'm going to move those guys for now. The danger to that, you get into a game like Warhammer, you have an army that you play with your friends, and there's lots of memes about having a $3,000 army, or an army so expensive you can't tell your significant other. And, you know, lots of the memes are like, oh, good Lord, I can't believe you spent $1,000 on a set of golf clubs. Who would spend that much on a hobby? And then, you know, you have to sit there quietly because you know how much your Warhammer army cost. All of those types of memes because of how expensive it is. With Gaslands, it's not expensive like that. You can invest in it and can have a lot of fun with terrain and game maps and whatnot. Game mats for the table, but you don't need to. And you can still fully enjoy the game. And the downside to that, though, is then you end up being a adult male in his late 40s with probably 300 to 400 Hot Wheels in boxes, way more than I'll ever need, because you find one that's cool, you look every time you go to the store because it's fun and exciting, and they're so cheap. I'll get these 3 or 4. It's just $4. It's just $5. And then they sort of mass up like you're a hoarder before you realize it. And yeah, so there's that danger. But I must have 300 or 400 Hot Wheels, like I just said. My solace I take in that is the fact that that is more or less 1.5 tank squadrons if I were playing Warhammer. And if I were going to play Warhammer with my army, I would probably have 5 squadrons of different types of vehicles. So I don't get too hard on myself. This is a really approachable and affordable game and is very cool. I like Gaslands a lot. Don't you start with the color wheel, Zappa. I told you I know where you live. I'm painting at these colors because it's hideous, by the way. That was the deliberate decision. So take that, color wheel. It is, unfortunately. If I can get these colors to come out, it's actually, I think, going to be a fun color combination. I don't have a lot of bright vehicles, actually. Most of my vehicles are really dingy and very Mad Max, which the game is not entirely that aesthetic. There are aesthetics for everybody, and I don't think I want all of my vehicles beat up and grungy, so we'll see. I do want to get back into painting regularly and get decent enough that I feel okay painting the vehicles I want, because I am really looking forward to painting my Badlands Noodle Bowl vehicles, which is my homebrew sponsor, that uses all of the weird foodie vehicles and catering trucks and the like. However, since that is my homebrew sponsor and sort of my flagship, since I wrote up the rules for it, I want to try to make them look good. So I'm going to hold off on them and get some practice in. Oh, look. Our bot's working again. I think everybody can see that. I'm not sure what happened with that thing. It got carried away with a promotion that we did, and we told it to shut up, and then it stopped saying anything, which was not what it was supposed to do. But it looks like it's back, so that'll help people find our Discord if they're curious. Looks like there's only a few people, so I don't think we're advertising to anybody new tonight. May. Oh. Okay. This ugly blue is actually picking up its color nicely now. It's funny that this color is just called Hawaii. All right. Oh, that's way too much. There we go. So, yeah, we're going to be streaming again Sunday. The plan is to have our D&D show on, our usual D&D show. We are also going to stream on Halloween. We're going to have, we're doing a get-together in our studio for our local friends and our local Mythical Family members. Not sure what the turnout's going to be yet, but we're doing a little potluck and hangout and board game night. Several of us are going to be in costume. We're going to talk to some streamers that we like to raid and collaborate with and support, folks that we actually we like. They're fun. They're entertaining and seem to be real good people. We're going to try to collab cam with some of them. There's another local group here that we've actually really been looking forward to meeting and getting, starting to build a relationship with and maybe collaborating with. We just need to get to know them better and let them get to know us and make sure everybody clicks. We just haven't been able to break that ice yet. We met them at our summer gaming convention, and we've been dying to get to know them a little better, and it just hasn't happened. Everybody's got busy schedules. We're all adults. We love our hobbies, but we're all adulting now and stuff, which is terrible, and there should be laws, but we're gonna have a good time on Halloween on Monday, since it falls on a Monday, which is just awful. Terrible night for such a fun holiday, but I'm gonna let that sit for a little more. That primer is doing okay grabbing the paint. I'm going to have to decide how thick I want this, though, because the reason I stripped these was I wanted all of the detail. And if I make it too thick, I'm going to start losing the detail with this acrylic paint. So we're going to wait. You know what? We're going to multitask. I wasn't going to, but we are. What other vehicle do we want? Let's do the funky racing truck. I'm not going to get all of his bits out because I have them sort of prearranged how I want to build them. And I know I will mix them up if I mix them up. Okay, so this guy's going to have flamethrowers on him. Like an orange and red. I think I really want to use this obnoxious fluorescent orange. We're going to try it. What are you? You're bronze. We're going to leave you. And here's the red. Oh, wait a minute, though. Oh. Wouldn't that be awful? Nah, I don't think I'm going to do that. That's too bad. That's terrible. I don't think I want to do any white on it. Orange and black. It is Halloween, but I don't know. It just seems cheesy. This is a circle track type truck. It's not a lot of detail. This one really, honestly, since it's basically a fiberglass body racing truck, could really just, unless I wanted to paint stripes, could really just all be one color. Maybe that's what I'll do. Let's put the red away. I'll do orange, and we'll just do highlights to get some detail and break it up instead of having two different colors. This area on the hood here, I might do black. It would make sense since I'm planning on having a flamethrower either over the top here or out this side. Or I have this dark metallic color. You get a little sample of it here. It's not a silver. It's like a galvanized tin color. And that might be interesting to offset the might be interesting to offset the orange. All right, fine. Get that way. Just want a sample. So if we did that, am I even on camera with this? Looks like I should be. So if I did that terrible color, you'll notice the pattern. All my colors are terrible. That's me constantly doubting my own decisions. just part of the ride you're along. Welcome. So that dark, it's not quite a gunmetal. It's just, I mean, galvanized is galvanized tin. Yeah, that's a good name for it. All right, let's see exactly how obnoxious orange this amazing orange is. Oh, look at that. Oh. All right, but what's it look like next to the galvanized? I think I'm going to do it. I think that's going to be the color combo for this. All right, so let's be smart and not give in to the urge to pour it without the cap on, which is what just ran through my head. I don't think I want to try my hand at painting any stripes or anything on it yet. It does have some details that would benefit from the metallic color. I could try it on the grill and then wash it with black. It's got 4 hood pins, which seems really unnecessary, but I don't drive racing trucks, so I'm going to take their word for it. It has headlights, but I think I don't think I would be fooling anybody if I gave it headlights, because these types of vehicles don't have them. Got a little thing at the top. It's got some things at the back. Yeah, I think we're just going to make this whole thing orange. I don't know how many coats it's going to take to actually get this obnoxious orange on there. I might actually paint nice and thick with it and see how it goes. Start with just a little, and I'm only going to give it a little tiny bit of water because this one doesn't seem very dried out yet. But I do want it to spread. I don't want it quite as washed out as those guys. I want it just thin enough that I'm not losing any of the model detail. It will be easier to paint the metallic over this obnoxious orange rather than the other way around. So okay, it's still pretty thin. I may be diluting these too much. However, it is easier to do another coat than it is to put things on way too thick and then have to scramble to get it off of the model. So that, however, is just making it look like this thing is primer gray like a trailer park vehicle and got a sunburn. That's way too washed out. Okay. All right. I may be using too big of a brush too. All right, so let's thicken that back up. I'm going to use this to stir it. And we're going to switch to a different brush. I thought that one would let me paint it basically like a house, but that's not really working. So let's use this guy. And let's see if that lets us put it on a little thicker. A little bit. Since I don't take the painting of these cars as seriously as I would like my Warhammer models and everything, at least not right now because of my skill level, I think it's going to end up bugging me if they take too long and too many coats. Get around that weird shape. It takes too many coats or takes too long because these really feel like sort of frivolous and a little less serious of projects. And I shouldn't view it that way. These are my cars. I should take the time to make them look the way that I want. Just unnecessarily critical on my part. This guy doesn't have anything for me to hang on. Oh, yes, he does. There we go. Okay. When you take these apart, you usually have to drill out the rivets because they're not nice enough to screw them together so that you can just disassemble them with a screwdriver. And sometimes that leaves it so there's not much to hang on to underneath to hold it like I am. This model still has a nice rivet post, thankfully. So it gives me something to hang on to and move it around. Let's get over here. Maybe that's our $1 million idea, Zappa. The miniature holders don't work very well for these because they're, it's not going to work, clearly. But if we could make something similar for modeling, if it doesn't exist, maybe that's our $1 million idea. Maybe that's how we get rich like the guy that made the plastic ends on the end of shoelaces. Need to find an engineer. All the engineers I currently know either work in software or pharmaceuticals. So I don't know the right people for that. All right. Yeah, this, because of how bold this silly color is, and I don't remember buying this, I am absolutely not surprised that it is in my paint bucket because I love me some orange, and this is an incredibly bright, very 80s orange, so this color is right up my alley. I just don't actually remember buying it, so I'm glad I have it. However, I think it's going to have to go on heavy to make it nice and bright. I think I'm going to take the time to do that with this truck, though. Yes, I do. I think if I'm going to use this color, I'm going to take the time to make it stand out. So I don't think we're going to get to using the galvanized tonight, because I think it's going to take a while to get this orange. Get the color on there, and then we'll try to get the brush strokes evened out. I just want to get some nice thick color on there, and then smooth out this cheap paint. And again, wasteland vehicle, so I'm not overly concerned about texture. It's also on a much smaller scale than the Wargaming minis, so the rough texture is not as weird. It's a vehicle, not a person, and it's doesn't look like a fingerprint or anything. Yeah, we're starting to get the color now. This was probably a good model. Happy accident for this, because this one doesn't have doorknobs. It has a gas tank, but it doesn't have doorknobs or door seals or anything like that. This is supposed to be a full-on fiberglass bodied racing truck, so it doesn't have a lot of detail to it, which is probably, like I said, a nice happy accident, because I think I'm going to have to go real thick to get this orange the way I want it. But that's okay. We are going to get there. All right. Even that out a little bit. Huh. I'm just looking at my phone and I'm barely on camera, aren't I? All right, I'm going to do something I didn't want to do. I bet that was terrible for anybody watching. Oh. Oh, okay. It just didn't like it. So you froze for a moment. Okay. At least I can work more friendly to myself and involve you guys some. I'm trying to lean out here, but this is the first stream like this I've done, other than showing off dice when we unbox them and that kind of thing, so now I'm getting to the point to where I'm taking paint off when I put more paint on, which means with acrylic paints, it's time to let it sit and dry. It gets to a certain point where it just starts to get gloopy, starts to dry just a little bit. Then you put new wet paint on, and it takes off the stuff that's starting to dry in chunks. And that's where I'm getting, so it's time to give this thing a rest and switch back to the other ugly car. See if I can brighten those up a little. I didn't have it. All I had was this gray for primer. If I had planned, this would have been a good vehicle to prime white, because this orange would have just taken off. All right. Yeah, Adele might work. I know from the nurses in my life, and there are several, that this always seems to surprise people, but not everybody owns hemostats, buddy. They're not hard to find or rare or anything, I know, but not everybody has those. Alrighty. Let's see. Did I break it? No, I see movement. Okay. All right. It's hard to tell running the studio solo sometimes, so. Okay, you were the brush for the blue. Let's get back to the blue first. Everything was nice and runny before. I don't think I need to add any more water, even though I've let it sit. Just stir it up, make it nice and acrylic creamy. Let's see if we can. Yeah, there we go. If I can get that on there smoothly, that'll be nice. There we go. Yeah, look at that. Now let's get a clean brush. We're going to want that texture for washes and stuff later. Okay, that looks good. Okay. The seats can stay dingy. It's a terrible color for those seats anyway. I don't know what the maker of this car was thinking. But okay, yeah. Letting it dry and getting that second coat on there is much better. There we go. We got some details to get in there, but there we go. Hawaii coming right at you. Clean you up. And while I have, I didn't put any of the galvanized out. I may get it out anyway because I think that's what we're gonna do back here. It's weird. It looks like it has. That's why I think it's just an aggressive hood, because it really looks like it's a rear engine car. So I don't think that's engine parts in the front. I do think it would look nice to have it contrast and be metallic, but I think the metallic part should be back here. All right, let's see if we can get this yellow. Let's get you stirred up. Yeah, you're starting to get thick, but that's okay. We want your color. You're not stringy or anything yet. You're just definitely thickening up. Get you clean. Here we go. Oh, that's a lot better. Still not bright hazard yellow, but a lot better. Covering over that really dark gray primer was definitely the way to make it hard for myself. But it was the only thing I had. I also had no plan for this, so even if I had a white primer, I think I would just be kicking myself now that I had it and didn't use it, but I had no plan to use these colors, so I guess that would just be me making an excuse to be upset with myself. It's another one of my hobbies, not one I recommend. I'm going to do something different with those trim spots on the bottom, so we're going to leave them. I think I painted. No, I've gotten some paint on this one, but we're going to try to leave them. The rear end of this thing really looks like a Supra, but this is not a Supra. Rear valance on this thing, the scoop and tail lights definitely resemble Supra-ness, though. My young daughter loves the Supra. She plays a racing game or two and despite all of the ridiculously powerful and rare and super expensive vehicles you can get in those games, she has a couple of favorites, and one of them is the Supra. Alright, so this needed a little more time to dry, probably because I painted it on thick before. We're starting to peel up the not quite dry layers, so it's going to be a quick switch off of this one, I think, as well. We're going to get nice and thick there. And flame paint all over my own hand. Part of the hobby. Yeah. We weren't quite ready for the second coat. We're taking stuff up instead of bringing paint up instead of putting paint down everywhere. So I don't want to start a third project. It's a little more commitment than I want to make for tonight. So, here we go. The blue turned out really well. I don't think that orange is ready yet either. I should probably have a fan or something going. But, yeah. These are starting to look okay. What I can do, I guess... See, the engine and that dashboard are going to be visible. And I could get away with just not caring. But dashboard's easy. We make the dashboard black. What do I have for metallic colors? I think I just have the galvanized and the bronze. Oh, I've got copper too, which isn't going to be distinctly different from the bronze, but I think if we do these risers black, which if I can get this yellow, the black will pop off of it nicely. Dashboard black. Maybe I just make these grill parts metallic and do the rest of this upper deck black. Just a touch, because you were incredibly goopy. These are actually kind of small areas. Let's use this guy. Okay, so brushing these front pieces will be easy. Let's save that for last. This can actually be nice and disgustingly thick because there's not a lot of detail on the dash. It's just a dash. Depending on what I do with the windshield, you may not be able to see it anyway. But I don't have a plan, so I don't know. Do that. Pretty sure that's all that's going to be visible from the outside of the car. I'm going to go ahead and just do that too. And then these plastic bits only have little axle clips to hold on to. don't think the outside's visible. I think it's just this area. Alright, so there's that. I'm going to end up doing a black wash anyway. Oh, I know what I could do with that little spot. I don't know if I can make it happen or not, but let's try. I'm going to have to use this same brush, so let's... As silly as it is, that actually seems to be a good spot to have a little color coordinated pop. I don't know where these wastelanders would find this obnoxious color. That's filled in. I can go back over and get the edges with black later. Clean up those lines. But I think that'll be visible through the back window, through this, so a little pop of that Hawaii blue will be kind of funny, I think. Then, if we did those black, I actually think we're going to galvanize these, because I don't have a silver or gold or anything crazy obnoxious. I think we're going to try. This and see what it looks like. Actually, because of the way this is textured, we're going to hit this with black first, because they look like vents. And then I will dry brush the galvanized over so it looks like a metal screen over the top instead of the other way around. This isn't going to be a super visible part of the car, so it's very forgiving right now. I don't know if while I'm in the black I can go ahead and straighten up these lines. Kinda. That looks alright. I am gonna say it's nice to nice to start painting models that are so forgiving. This might be a terrible camera angle too. I didn't actually have an overlay set up for this. I'm just using the Gaslands one. Tried to position one camera to work. You need more time to dry. I don't think we have enough of this orange, but let's see what we can do here. Yeah, you're getting really goopy. I'm gonna have to get more of you out, I think. But you're starting to brighten up. And because it's going to take so much of this orange with that dark primer, and you're going to have a flamethrower anyway, that's part of your plan, I think I may let some of the shading of the orange happen. I don't think I can deliberately make it look like flame. I have not painted anything in a very long time, but I think it would be very forgivable for a flamethrower packing high-speed truck to have some texture in the orange and have it sort of fade and not be uniform. That's not what I was envisioning when I first started painting, but I think it's how it's going to turn out, and I think it'll end up being perfectly acceptable. I mean, it's just going to go into an arena and get shot up anyway, right? This is such a weird shape back here. It's hard to get brush strokes unified back here. Okay, we definitely need to add some of this. It's been nice just sort of having an evening of downtime, getting to enjoy my Friday evening. I actually hope some folks out there are getting to do the same. I don't think life affords us enough of that in general anymore. Seems like we always have to hustle, we always have to move. And it's a shame when the cost of that is always feeling guilty when we want to make time for ourselves and for the things that we want to do. Tonight is a real rare occasion where I don't have that going. And I hope I am not alone. There are lots of folks out there getting to do what they want to do with their Friday night. Being out with friends, staying in with a book, playing a video game, playing a role-playing game, writing a book, writing a role-playing game, producing video, whatever floats your boat. Getting caught up on your latest binge, eating ice cream and popcorn. Whatever it is that folks are not getting to do enough of without feeling guilty or without having the pressure of feeling like they should be doing something to be more productive, I hope they're getting to enjoy their Friday. Alright, yeah, if I wanted to make it this bright orange, I would either need to start over and reprime, or I'm going to have to layer on layer on layer. And I don't think I'm going to do that for this vehicle. I just don't. I've not been getting the front at all. These parts should be orange. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. That's definitely going to take some cleanup. And you know what? I am going to go over these headlights. I know they're not real headlights. I may paint them a different color. I'm not going to take the effort to make them look like headlights. I know they're not. But let's go ahead and make it orange, and maybe we'll paint the panel a color just as an accent or something when we're done and doing detail. But we're going to stop going around them and start getting some orange on there to match the body. All right. Well, the big pieces are definitely getting darker. All right, so we may start deliberately. I was going to let the shading happen, but since it is going to happen, and I don't want it to just look like brush strokes, I may need to start doing it on purpose. I was going to just sort of be a little more haphazard and organic about it, but I don't think that's going to be a good idea. Pays to have a plan, which is why I need to watch more of Zappa's shows when he gets them out. Get some actual techniques to do this stuff right. I said it's been a long time since I've painted anything serious. I've painted a couple of the other Gaslands cars, but not anything super detailed. The buggy that's in almost all of the shots is one of my favorite vehicles, the little black buggy with the ganger hanging off the back with a pistol. I really enjoyed that build quite a bit, but it is just black with red highlights and grime, so there wasn't a lot to it. The Mini was actually the most detailed part of it, and they're so small. The Hot Wheels are basically on 20mm scale or so. They are so small that it's sort of silly to put too much effort into them. Especially when it's not, I don't have the skill or the eyes for that just yet. So it's adequate for the game table, but definitely not a showpiece. It is, however, my favorite vehicle that I've put together because the model came together really nicely came together pretty much exactly the way I wanted it. All right. We may try one more run at the orange to see how much more bright we can get it, but I don't think it's going to get much better than that. Oh, all this talking. Yeah, I don't think it's going to get much better than that. So, next vehicle we plan to make orange, or at least fluorescent orange. We will definitely prime a lighter color. Although, I don't know, I'm actually kind of liking the orange I'm ending up with. Orange is a strange color to have as your favorite because it's, for lack of a better way to put it, it's very contextual. I like orange. Orange is hard to do right on a vehicle. It's just a lot of orange. So lots of orange vehicles just don't do it for me. Very picky about it. I like an orange environment, like a room or architecture or whatnot, because again, it is my favorite color, but it is a color that is tricky to do that with. So orange as a favorite color relies heavily on context. So even as a fan of the color, I'm very picky. I don't like that. We're going to do something about that. All right. So, we can try another run at the yellow. I don't know that it's ready yet. It keeps coming off in clumps. I think we're pretty much there with the blue. I may take another run at it just to make the color a little nicer. But I actually like the way that was turning out. You know what? We're going to stick with this brush. Okay, so you're definitely getting tacky, but you're not drying out yet and getting super goopy. All right, come on, give us the yellow we're looking for. Okay, definitely going on better. Space coats are definitely helping. Actually, I think if I can get it all looking like that roof, if I do one more coat after that dries, we might start getting to a good looking color. All right. I will eventually want to get back into the groove enough with my painting that I won't feel embarrassed to paint my Warhammer army that I've collected. At one point I wanted to play the army, but I pretty much don't anymore. I have short stories that I've started to write and canon in my head for my own little guard unit that I was collecting and intending to play. And I think having them on display, completing them as a project, because I do enjoy this part of the hobby quite a bit, I just get real trepidatious with my skills and don't want to mess anything up, and I let that prevent me from starting, which is awful, and I hate it and is a hard habit to break. But that's also why I kinda decided to share some of my terrible painting with folks, because I'm hoping if it helps even one person out there go, if this Yahoo can do it, and if that's what he's creating, that it helps somebody feel okay about what they're doing. Alright, actually, we got some spots here to get, but if I get them right now, I'm just going to take more paint off. We'll just go thick there next time. I think that's starting to look pretty good as far as getting that color over that gray. Oh, but that's not what we wanted to do. Well, not a lot came off. And you know what? The stuff on the edges of it, that's just highlighting anyway. Yeah, we should have something to hold these. There's a few little gizmos for minis, but for miniature figures, but I don't think I know of any for modeling like this. The car modeling and airplane modeling world and the like would probably know. I think we're going to go back. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if there was something designed for that, but I have not come across it in my hobbying. You're getting tacky. Yeah, you're leaving brush strokes. Well, let's see how it looks. It's not too thick yet. However, it is thick enough that I'm basically putting it on like dry brushing. Oh, look, ding. Random unsolicited political text message. I was under the impression that there were actually regulations for some of that, for the unsolicited text messaging, but I'm gonna guess I was incorrect, because it seems silly that there would be call centers out there doing that, and it's illegal. So apparently I'm wrong, which is unfortunate. Because it has been relentless this year, and I am tired of hearing all the politics stuff. Gonna get into it here either, don't worry, but just griping about the ads and text messages and junk mail and people knocking on my door and all of that. Just definitely over it. It seems like it's just been worse and worse every election cycle for a long time now, and yeah, not enjoying it. Wish somebody would just make a foundation whose point is simply to educate voters and help them make decisions instead of trying to manipulate them to get them onto your side. There's no money to be had in that, I'm sure. And the people that are fighting one crusade or another won't be satisfied with that, I'm sure, because they need to be spouting their own rhetoric and making people come to their side. And I get it. I just wishful thinking. It would be great if somebody just had an organization that just explained the topics to people, gave them as close to objective truths as they can, and just empower people to make up their minds instead of trying to tell people what to think. All right. Yeah. That color over that gray actually came out pretty nice. And yes, I see that. I'm not worried about it. It's going to be covered. All right. Let's get the point out. Let's see how this is. I'm probably going to have to thin it out for the back part, but I bet it'll go for this nicely. And that is actually barely a color difference from this gray. That metallic, however, I think will stick out with that yellow nicely. Talking about yellow, and I almost put my brush back into the yellow. Yay, DD! Oh, okay. Just for giggles, since I don't know if it'll be visible or not, we'll just do the console in the silver since we've painted almost everything else. It's actually kind of a silly effort because if I want the inside to be visible, which is a detail I usually skip unless it's a specific project I'm really excited about, there would have to be people in these seats, and the models I have, you need to cut the steering wheel out because they're part of the model. So a little bit of a waste, but that's okay. All right, let's see. Okay, that's turning out okay. Yeah, that turned out all right. Do some touch up over here. Yeah, that worked out all right. I don't know how well the camera's going to catch that, but little vents in the back there. I do think Get a little closer here. I may be blocking the shot, folks, with my big head, but not as young as I used to be anymore. Sometimes I got to lean in real close to these things when I'm painting them. All right. I do believe... Oh, actually, wait a minute. Being stubborn, are you? Okay, well, then we'll just manhandle you, as it were. I actually think I need to use this square brush just to use the corner of it. Hard to get all of this. That turned out okay. Not a paint job I could sell, but I am just glad to be getting back into it. So what I forgot about were the little side vents, and I figured while I had the galvanized out, we'd get at them. Despite the shading being a little weird because they're technically blue behind it instead of black, but I'm not aiming as high as I could. All right, why are you just sitting here? All right, so let's try another round with the orange, because I don't think that yellow is ready to go again. And I think at this point, we're going to use a nice flat brush. I think we're going to use it right out of the bottle and see how it goes. Even though this is basically yard sale sign paint. Let's see if we can get that color if we put it on this thick. No, even thick like that, it's not brightening up a whole bunch. So I think we have the orange we're going to end up with, which is all right. Which is all right. What I do want to do is try to take the edge off of some of these corners, get the color a little more uniform, just like that. Even if it means putting it on thick. And since we're approaching the last coat, let me see if I can do longer strokes and keep in the same direction here to give it a little less sloppy of a texture on the top. We're going to have these, I don't even know what to call it. It's not shading, but we've got color differences happening between the layers. And that's just going to be part of what this guy does. How he ends up looking, because there's nothing I can do right now other than get real heavy with the paint to fix that. However, since it's going to be a fire weapon based truck, as I said before, we're just going to call it a happy accident. Hopefully it ends up with enough of a texture that it looks like it was done on purpose, and it's visually eye-catching. We shall see. All right. One thing that is neat about using this thick acrylic paint unthinned is it's actually almost naturally highlighting some of the corners. Almost like a contrast paint, but it's not. It's just thick-ass poster paint. All right. Okay. Back of the vehicle's ugly. I may end up gluing something on there to get rid of that. And let's stop trying to put the brush in the yellow. Man. Okay. Terribly janky line there. I was trying to keep it straight, but was not letting me do it. That looks a little better. Would love for this top to end up being super bright orange, but I don't think that's going to happen. Because I'm putting it on real thick right here, and I just don't think it's going to happen. I'm making some shorts with these vehicles. I have, I think, 5 or 6 of them at the same prep level. They've all had the rivets drilled out of them and paint stripped off of them, and they've been primered. I've picked out the accessories and wheels and stuff that I'm going to use on them. Got them all bagged up and ready to go. I'm going to put together some shorts showing steps of the progress, of the whole process and project. We'll see whether or not those turn out any good, but just to sort of show a little bit of a, not a time lapse, but just steps in the program. Just because I think it would be fun. I enjoy seeing that when people show this is what it started as, this is what I did with it, this is the thing in the middle of the mess. There are several folks that do that on the Gaslands forums. It's an incredibly active group. Lots of good people, supportive people in this game hobby. In this game. So I'm going to try my hand at doing some of the shorts with the progress. And these will be part of it, these vehicles I'm painting tonight. I have several more to go, and I have an entire army of goofy taco and soda bottle vehicles, donuts, all of the food cars, and all of the support vehicles for my custom sponsor, Badland Noodle Bowl. And yeah, those are going to be fun too, but I kind of want to wait until I'm feeling better about the way I'm painting. But I'm going to have a lot of fun with those. got lots of ideas for who's going to be on my team. I have 2 donut cars. I've collected all of the food cars. I have 2 donut cars, and they're going to run as a team. And they're going to be Sprinkles and Bismarck. Because everybody thinks Sprinkles are the best type of donut. And I happen to think Bismarcks are the best type of donuts. Bismarcks are the ones that are usually called Bavarian cream. They're the cream-filled chocolate donuts. Those are my favorite. So Sprinkles and Bismarck are going to be my donut cars. I need to, with the sponsor, which I have rules up on our Facebook page for Badlands Noodle Bowl, but I need to revise them to match our. See, I'm doing too much here. To match our home rules and the testing and stuff, and bring them sort of in line for where they need to be. So there is a revision coming, but those are freebie rules for anybody that might want to play a food truck sponsor. I will warn you, I'm very big on not generating a power cycle and trying to go over the top with things. It is a food truck sponsor, so it is not designed to be a powerhouse sponsor, but it is going to be terribly fun, I think, and it gives me an excuse to use all of the goofy trucks. The truck that has the toilet bowl on the back, the truck that looks like a hamburger, all of those, yeah, they're going to be on the field for Badlands Noodle Bowl. So I want to get into putting those vehicles together and showing off my own sponsor. However, since they're going to be my showcase, I definitely want to get some practice first. I want to give that a few more minutes, and then I'm going to try one more load of yellow. This thing, once I put the galvanized highlights on it, man, it is ugly. But I don't know. I kind of like it. With the accessories and stuff it's going to have, I think it'll look good. One of the biggest things you can do for these models, in my opinion, the one step that does more for these models than anything else, even if it's a completely regular Hot Wheel otherwise, is wheel swaps. Because you get away from the stock wheels. Buried the one I'm working on. Which for the car that I picked, the yellow and blue, these are the wheels it came with, and they work. They're not necessarily shaped bad, but these, way better. And with that vehicle, it's going to have mismatched wheels. It's going to have these wheels in the back, I think, and then these wheels in the front. But the wheel swaps, these 3D printed wheels, are, in my opinion, the single biggest step to take these from looking like toy Hot Wheel cars to game pieces. So the wheels I've got wheels picked out for all of these vehicles, with one exception. I have a Jeep Gladiator here, which is actually a vehicle I would love to have myself. I shopped them, it just didn't work out, maybe down the line. But I have a Gladiator here that I'm going to do some fun stuff with, and sort of enjoy having a Gladiator vicariously. With this one, though, I'm going to do something a little unusual. It's going to take some work to get it to fit, but the wings and engines line up pretty much nicely with the wheel wells. And that's the only vehicle that doesn't have a wheel swap, because it's going to be a hover car. The rest of these all have wheels that we're going to change to. Let's see. I'm going to put this back on. So the Bronco that I'm going to do as part of this is going to get these guys. Which, and this is not a Hot Wheel, this is one of the Maisto kind of cheaper Hot Wheels. This is what it came with. Which, again, it's got little bits of tread on it. Looks kind of like a normal wheel, except for the hubcap, or the rim sticking way out. You know, passable, I suppose. Depends on the level. But that's how it's going to be rolling into the arena when I'm done with it. And I think the wheel swaps are an incredible improvement to these models. So they will all be losing their wheels. All right, I think we're going to try to get a little more yellow on this guy, and I'm just going to paint it with that thick paint that's been sitting there getting some air. And then I think I'm going to get ready to go home. I have enjoyed getting to fiddle around and just mess with my hobbies and not worry about having to be somewhere or whether or not I should be getting something done. We have most of the stuff prepped for our Halloween party on Monday. As of right now, we're not entirely sure who's going to be there and who isn't, so we're a little limited on the planning that we can do. But we have everything else set up, I think, and looking good. I actually ended the work week on a good note. I'm not going to be taking work home with me mentally, which is another thing that I frequently do and wish I did not. And yeah, it was a pretty busy week with lots going on. I'm sure there are other folks out there that know exactly how that goes. It's sort of par for the course for our modern lives. But it was a very busy week for me, very stressful week for me. It ended in a pretty good place, and I was able to do this and engage in something without letting myself feel guilty, and it has been nice. I wish this same sort of moment, same energy and feeling for everybody out there. I hope everybody gets to have some time for themselves where they don't have to worry, they don't have to fidget, they don't have to stress, they're not rushing. It's a rare thing these days anymore, which is unfortunate, but I hope everybody finds a little bit of it this week. If not this week, then definitely sometime soon. I forgot, actually, how much I enjoy sitting here doing this. I am enjoying this even though my introvert self finds it really weird to be talking to people and sharing it with people. I am trying to, see I'm taking the paint off there, trying to get more used to that as we share our hobbies and show everybody that it's okay to be nerdy. It's okay to enjoy doing something and just starting at it, just learning how to do it, or simply just making a mess and pushing things the way you want them to go the hard way, which is sort of what this feels like. But it is okay. Everybody deserves to have their time, enjoy their hobby, and enjoy the nerdy things that they like. Whether it's getting really into sports, whether it's chasing dragons through a dungeon, whether it's playing video games and shooting soccer and little digital cars, or running around trying to be the last survivor with your friends against a whole bunch of other people who are also playing the same game and trying to be the last survivor. Whether you're sharing your shenanigans as you try to hide from a serial killer and fix the generators and escape, like one of our good streamer buddies frequently does with a game called Dead by Daylight. Or if you're one of the folks that plays Mortician's Assistant and pretends to virtually embalms bodies. Boy, that thing just wants to end up on its roof. These plastic models are really light and kind of hard to work with. I showed how I stripped these plastic cars because the stuff I use for the metal cars is really not good for the plastic. We may leave that as battle damage. I may actually... These spots that are coming off, I'm getting tired of fighting. So I might actually just leave them and highlight them. We'll see. If they're not going to play nice with me, then we'll do a different plan. It's a little early and everything's still wet, but I still want to see. Boy, you have to be lined up just right. There we go. Oh yeah, look how ugly that is. Let's fix my fingerprints I just put in there. Some big, heavy brush strokes. Oh, well, that's a bummer. Shouldn't have done that with them together. Yeah, that's hideous. Perfect. However, acrylic paint. Dab. And mostly right is right. Very cool. Let's get you out of the inside too. Yeah, and if we need to touch up the yellow fingerprints all over this thing now, I need to stop being impatient. Oh, straight down to the primer. Okay, well, you may be into battle damage too. Alright, so we will try to fix that real quick with this thick paint. What that means is I should have stopped. So what I'm going to do is stop. Anybody that came along with me, chatted with me, or anybody that's watching later and just sort of watching me paint and maybe listening to me babble, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I hope you get to do some of the things that you're looking forward to doing. And I hope that as you do these things, you've got friends and loved ones that you can share them with. We are a local group, and that's what we're all about. We like to share so we can reach as far as we can and make sure that everybody understands that there are places where people can enjoy their hobbies and be surrounded by people that are nothing but happy for them, nothing but supportive of them, and a place where people can be themselves and come together to do the things that they enjoy And the only thing that matters when you come together to share the hobbies is your love of the hobby. That's what we're trying to do with Mythical Family. We're all about inclusivity. We're all about leaving the BS of our daily lives behind and all of the things that matter too much to some people all day long. A place where people can be themselves without being judged by people who care about things that, quite frankly, are none of their business because it doesn't impact them. However, that's just the way the world works. It's how humanity is, unfortunately. But here, we want a place where everybody can express the things that they enjoy doing, enjoy the hobbies that they have a passion for, and do these things together in a place that is supportive and caring and wanting to see you happy. So, let me see if I can pull this up here. I am going to shut this down. I've got a little bit of cleanup to do. I can't quite leave it like this. Let these fully dry. I'll probably peek at them sometime tomorrow. Fiddle with them some more. I don't think I'll turn the camera on for that. Turning on the camera was a bit of a whim. Just me babbling and sharing what I'm doing. Hoping that somebody else sees it and finds a little bit of encouragement to do the things they want to do. All right, everybody. You guys have a good evening. Stay mythical and take care of each other. Because really, we're all we've got.